Ah, yes. Silence of the Lambs. You know, if I had to pick my favorite film about a creepy serial killer who has to be stopped by the police, I. Oh, right. That's true. Well, if I had to pick my favorite film of 1991, it would. Hmm. Okay. If I had to pick Anthony Hopkins' best on screen performance. Oh, god damn it! Actually, I should point out that Hannibal Lecter is without a doubt Hopkins' most memorable role for a reason. He's a vicious psychopath, but he's also incredibly cultured and intelligent. He could help the FBI catch any serial killer, but he'd rather taunt them over and over from his cell. No matter how unrealistic this character is, the unforgettable performance by Hopkins allows us to just sit back and enjoy. It's not the best performance he's given, but by gad if it isn't his most enjoyable one. Silence of the Lambs is famous for its setup. A young FBI rookie named Clarice Starling is instructed by Jack Crawford to help investigate a serial killer known as Buffalo Bill. To help figure out the case, Crawford sends Starling to speak with Hannibal Lecter, the serial killer psychiatrist genius who would forever change how we portray murderous psychopaths in film. The movie is technically about the search for Buffalo Bill, even as he kidnaps another victim and holds her hostage in his house. But the parts that most people remember is the connection between Hannibal Lecter and Clarice Starling. Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins both won Oscars for their performances, and they're both very well deserved. Clarice is intimidated by Lecter, but refuses to be defeated by his taunts or his intellect. Lecter, meanwhile, becomes captivated by Clarice and seeks to draw out her biggest secret, which he senses is right under the surface of everything she does as an FBI agent. And this is one aspect of the film that really deserves mention. The objectification and cruelty towards women is incredibly well portrayed here, not just through the serial killer Buffalo Bill, but also how all the men in the film react towards Clarice as she goes about her daily life. Just as Roger Ebert pointed out, there's a scene where she has to take charge of an autopsy, and it takes all her courage and nerve to do so. Jodie Foster helps craft her into one of the best female characters in any film that I've ever seen. She's ambitious but self-critical. She's proud of her father, but she's ashamed of her low-class background. She's intimidated by Hannibal Lecter, but she's able to defy and even manipulate him. Her assignment to speak with Hannibal Lecter stems from the idea that a beautiful young woman might entice him to be lenient, but rather than letting Lecter have his own way, Clarice shows her true strength by challenging him and pushing him to giving her what she wants. Of course, this means she might have to give him what he wants in return, and I won't give it away here, but the payoff of this story arc is actually more captivating than the actual climax of the film itself. Having said that, though, it's not like there's nothing else to enjoy. Buffalo Bill himself is a terrifying villain, and he's brilliantly portrayed, as is his victim. But the problem is that the scenes between Lecter and Clarice are so fascinating that they pretty much push everything else into the background. All in all, though, this film is a classic. As long as you have the stomach for this brutal film, you get a truly well-crafted plot with phenomenal performances along the way. The atmosphere is so thick you could cut it with a knife, and even if the story tends to get over the top in its portrayal of the genius psychopath, we still buy it in the name of watching a great movie. So while I don't put this in my all-time favorites list, it's definitely one of the best films of its genre. Kinda sad that it's the only Thomas Harris adaptation starring Anthony Hopkins that's actually a great film. Oh yeah, that one was good too.